well, he's off his game tonight. Have a drink. Have a drink. All right, now we're live.
The whole bottle.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
God,
What's he drinking?
I'll tell you about it when we get going.
Chugging.
All right, no intro, so I think we're ready to go. We don't have
no Kim.
No Kim yet, but
Kimmy.
What the hell? Where is Kim? Who's got? I'm gonna text her.
So we should do the intro, like Stormfront Freaks.
Right, so.
Kim's not here.
Kim's
What
not
the
here.
heck?
Stormfront Freaks.
Party time! Excellent. Woo!
Maybe she was down in her bar, in her basement bar for a while, and kind of forgot.
I was gonna sign that.
She does have the most awesome basement.
And Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. If we're on, good evening, everybody. We have no intro for you tonight.
This is why we call the video Stormfront Freaks Raw.
Raw. That's exactly right.
Because we didn't want to make it Stormfront Freaks podcast because it's your all you're getting is the recording of the show. Oh no. Okay. I thought Kim said I got you, boss, but that was from an old message. So where are
we can all text her at once.
Where are you? Okay. Well, let's.
Should we count you in and you can start?
Well, let's do this. I'll do just a quick explanation for everybody watching us. Again, why we call this Stormfront Freaks Raw is because we decided. When was this? This was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
We decided that all we were doing was we were recording a audio podcast. So if you're not aware, we actually the audio of this show is edited. MJ does all the editing and adds some great sound and bleeps out my swear words and cuts out the crazy stuff. and then we post the audio podcast, and that's available on, if you have an iPhone, you can find it on Apple Podcasts on that app. If you have an Android, you can find us on the Stitcher app or Google Play. We're on that. A number of other podcast apps you can find us on. Or if you just want to jump on your computer or your phone and go to stormfrontfreaks.com, which is our website, you can see our audio podcasts on there. And what's great about that, and this is what I love about podcasts, is you tell me a radio station you can tune into while you're driving where you can listen just about storms and weather and listen to great people from the weather industry and talking about TV meteorology and storm chasing and storm spotting and just all the cool stuff we get into. You can't do that. And that's what I love about podcasts is you can find the things that you love. And maybe it's other things besides weather. You can find a podcast about that, and a lot of times many podcasts about that. And you can download it to your phone, and you can listen to it whenever the heck you want. You don't have to worry about talk radio and what are they going to talk about today, and maybe it's something I don't even care about. Maybe it's politics, and I really don't care about that. And so that's what I love about podcasts. So we've been doing this audio podcast. We're coming up. I think most of you guys know we're coming up this year. Will be season 3.0. And so we've been doing the audio, but we decided, heck, since we're all getting together, because none of us are really local, we're all coming from different parts of the country. And we meet on this Google Hangouts, and there's Kim finally.
There she is. Hey, guys.
Fashionably late.
Katherine, I'm sorry, guys. My computer was shut down. Then when it came back up, it was doing all these updates. And so finally after all these updates, and then it's
you got a Windows computer, don't you?
Yes.
And then there was this meteor shower and a big cat.
Oh, you guys.
So anyway, I'm just explaining to all our viewers here why we started doing this video and actually broadcasting it. So we just decided, since we were doing this recording anyway, why don't we let people watch it if they really want to watch it? So we started broadcasting it on YouTube. Shortly thereafter, we talked to William Cole with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And so now we're simulcast on there as well. And we're like, hey, if people want to watch us record the podcast and screw it up and mess it up and all that good stuff, more power to them. And the funny thing is I think our video of this show is probably a lot more hilarious than the audio of the show.
I think you're right.
we're funny looking? What do you mean by that?
Exactly. It's just not as pretty. The audio, if you listen to our podcast, it's a little more fine tuned than our recording. So, all right, so we got everybody on.
All right, so ready to go.
Let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and count me in.
All right, in we come in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast. And for those of you watching our raw and unedited recording, a little shout out to our YouTube viewers and Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV viewers. We call this Stormfront Freaks Raw, the video portion of it. But we'll tell you this, if it's the first time that you're listening or watching us, hey, thanks for checking us out, if nothing else. We hope you enjoy it, that you at least want to come back and listen to more. But be sure to catch our last episode with Rick Smith, the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Norman, Oklahoma. We had a great time with him. You can also catch any of our other previous shows with guests like storm chasing photographer Mike Olbinski or forensic meteorologist and author Dr. Elizabeth Austin. So we got a lot of great shows in our backlog you can check out. However, this is episode 38, and our guest this week is weather producer for the Weather Channel's Weather Underground, Kathryn Prociv. We'll also be discussing the future of amateur radio and storm chasing, or the lack thereof a future, I guess. And don't forget to stick around for our educational Titan U Minute, unforgettable weather fools, and our picks for some cool WX resources. But one of the things we do to get started is we have a happy hour.
Right.
And there's two things. There's always two things we're trying to accomplish with our happy hour. Number one is it allows us to introduce all of our co-hosts so that you can hear their voice and put a name to the voice before we get started. But number two is it sets the tone for our show that we're going to be laid back. We're going to be having fun. It's an after hours get together at the poker table, talking storms and weather with interesting people. So it's a great way to set the tone.
I got a pair. No, seriously. Look.
Oh, look at that.
I got a pair of 4.
Wow.
Nice.
I think I meant you.
Is that kind of podcast?
You guys.
It beats mine. And if you look behind MJ, he's actually got his poker dogs.
There they are right there.
Nice.
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and quick introduce our co-host freaks. Find out what they're drinking for our podcast happy hour, and I will shoot it up to our poker dog background guy, MJ, up in Minnesota. What are you drinking?
Dog?
All right, here I am, and tonight we've unleashed the Kraken. We are.
Whoa!
Good Lord!
Oh, I love it.
Man.
Is that
Yes.
Did I see a big 94 proof on that thing or something?
Yes,
or what?
yes, you did. That is the Kraken's black spiced rum, and we're having that with, of course, Coca-Cola.
Of course.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I might have to try that out.
Yes, it's good.
That's and those of you that don't
we
know,
have the day off tomorrow. That's what this means. So.
That's great.
You're not the only one, I guess. Hey, I do want to tell our viewers and listeners that the November 6th, I think it's November 16th recording. That's going to be our holiday shopping show. So we're going to actually preview and review some various weather products. Excuse me.
Nice.
You're gonna love it.
He started happy hour early.
That's also the show that we got a couple bartenders that are going to be joining us at the beginning that are going to be introducing for the holidays. They're going to be introducing some great weather themed and Stormfront Freaks podcast themed drinks.
Yeah, baby.
Sweet.
I'm looking forward to that one.
I know you are, Dina.
So MJ is not the only one with a day off tomorrow. I heard Dina is as well down in Atlanta. Dina, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, thank God. Okay, so I got my new Stormfront Freaks cup. Can you see that?
Oh, right. I love
And it's funny because when it's really cold, it turns blue. So the first time I put something in it, I put some ice in it. There was something blue all over it. I'm like yelling at the kids, like, "Who put blue stuff in my cup?" And here's it got cool. But I made a Long Island iced tea.
Ah.
Wow.
I admit I don't have every everything because it's like you need a full bar for that one, but it's most of it. So it's pretty much just, a lot of alcohol. But I mean, isn't that what we need? I was going to actually make for Kathryn a dark and stormy, but I didn't. It's really good. I never had one before, but I didn't have all the ingredients and I didn't have time to stop. So,
You not having all the ingredients now, that's a surprise.
I know. Well, like I said, I live out in the country now, but within 3 miles, I have a really nice liquor store.
She knows exactly how far.
Yep.
No excuse. Yeah. All right, Maz in Cincinnati, what are you drinking tonight,
I
bro?
got Stella.
Ooh.
Kind of fancy.
Nice.
I'm going Belgian.
That's kind of fancy for the
does
poker
seem
table,
fancy.
isn't it?
It is. What's funny is my wife bought it because my son-in-law was coming over, and I was like, "Well, we got Stella." She's like, "It's for Alex." I'm like,
Don't save that for Alex.
"Leave me one of those."
All right,
good.
Kim,
Pretty good. I'm liking it.
Kim, you're down in Atlanta tonight. What are we drinking?
Well, tonight I am drinking an IPA.
Surprise.
Surprise. Yes, way. And this out of my mummy, this is
Ooh.
a Bride of Frankenstein glass.
Oh, nice.
You see it? You see this one? Okay. So this is Hop Dang Diggity. And this is out, yes, Hop Dang Diggity. And it's a Jekyll Brewery Company right out of Alpharetta, right here in the northeastern
really?
side of Atlanta. So it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. And happy Halloween, right?
All right.
Did you say hoppy? Hoppy Halloween?
Happy Halloween. Happy
So
Halloween.
not only do you have an IPA, but drinking in a Bride of Frankenstein glass, but it's a
Yes.
beer from Jekyll.
Yes.
Wow. You're bringing it all together tonight, girl.
She is.
Catching on, man. You see my friend behind me? I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with me tonight. So.
He's looking a little thin.
Anyway, yeah, he's on a swing.
He's
So
on my goal weight.
I'm pulling up. I've shared before. This is one of my favorite seasons for brews because it's either pumpkin or there's Oktoberfest, and because this is our last show for October. I am drinking Christian Moorline, which is a brewery here in Cincinnati. I am drinking their Das Uber Oktoberfest.
Nice.
So that's what I'm slamming tonight.
All right.
All right.
He's slamming it. No wonder he's hiccuping back.
I've got a few. I've got a little like lunch bag with an ice cooler in here because I've got a couple more in there, keeping it cold.
All right.
Keeping it
You
cold.
gotta
All
have
right.
a little mini
about our
fridge.
guests?
They're like $40 at Walmart. You could stick
I
it right
know.
onto your desk.
I've only got like 2 outlets down here in my basement though, so
Oh yeah.
I need to get an electrician in here, and we need to finish it. But anyway, all right. And hey, I don't want to forget our guest tonight because I know she came prepared.
Yes.
So this is not your formal introduction, Kathryn, but down in Atlanta, let us know what you're drinking.
All right. So the other night when Phil and I did our sound check, I had forgotten that you guys drink during this. So
How did you forget?
And so remember I showed you I was drinking my last Category 5 IPA. So hurricane themed, of course, when my friend was selling it. And I literally went, but I drank it. So here I've got a raspberry sour from 3 Taverns.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Really, and look at that beautiful can art. But
Yeah,
I'm going
that
to
is
pour it into my Storms Never Sleep thermos because you know the
Nice.
storms never sleep, and
I
neither
like
do
it.
And this is from my colleague Dan Apgar, who sent this to me as a gift. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
Very
Oh.
nice.
Cool.
Very
Cool.
nice.
Very
Awesome.
nice. Well, good. Well, I think we've set the tone and we've accomplished our goal. So let's go ahead and get to the important stuff and introduce our guest. Dina, let's give her a formal introduction. As
All
formal as
right.
we get.
Well, tonight we welcome Kathryn Prociv. She's a meteorologist and a weather producer for the Weather Channel's Weather Underground show with Mike Bettis, and formerly with the channel's flagship program, AMHQ, with Jim Cantori. Kathryn secured her position just 4 months after freelancing for the channel and has been with us since 2013. She has both a bachelor's and a master's degree from Virginia Tech, and she even helped develop the program, including interviewing professors and then taking each of the courses the first semester it was offered.
Oh, wow.
She's a weekly contributor to the Capital Weather Gang and U.S. Tornadoes, and is an avid storm chaser who has witnessed over 15 tornadoes and has been chasing since 2010. She's even been a field leader many of those times. Her master's thesis, and I love this, even debunked the idea that tornadoes can't develop in the mountains. You know how we always say that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then to top it off, she plays the guitar, and she's just has one of the most laid back, calm demeanors I know. She always has a smile on her face, even when I'm ready to kill somebody, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill him, and she just smiles. It's great. And I joke with her all the time that she needs to go back and finish her PhD. So I think as fun tonight, we just need to call her Dr. Prociv the whole night just to get her in the spirit of things.
I like it. I like it.
So Kathryn, I love that you debunked the idea that tornadoes can't develop in the mountains. How did you do that? Like, you can give us the short crib note version.
All right, so the shorthand version, and I will say that when I gave my proposal, first semester of grad school, we all had to come up with an idea and propose it in front of the whole college. I got absolutely railed. I was told that it was not a good idea, not to bother, pick another one, or don't graduate. But
wow.
Yeah, they were pretty hardcore about it. You know, they're relentless, academia. Yeah. They're pretty tough. But I said, no. I said, I'm going to keep doing it. And Kim and Dina, who know me really well, when I set my mind to something, it's going to get done. So no one's going to tell me different. So I just want you all to know that was December of 2010, and everybody thought I was crazy. And then just a few months later, April 2011 happened. And there were several destructive tornadoes at very high elevations in the Appalachians, which is where I was in school at the time. We had tornadoes hit just down the road. So all of a sudden people went, okay, Kathryn, let's continue with your research. And so I did it basically two ways. I worked with the National Weather Service in Blacksburg. The point of my thesis was to come up with a forecast application to help them better forecast supercells in the mountains. They didn't really have a way. If you think about it, the mountains block radar beams. So they needed a better way to try and figure out which storms might or might not produce tornadoes, and basically storms that they were blind to. So using GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems, which is basically mapping, and I went back and I hand plotted, I believe the total was 500 single points of NEXRAD radar, the couplets, the location, the intensities by DBZ, and I overlaid the intensity of these couplets on top of terrain profiles to see what did the storms do when they encountered ridges and valleys and high points and low points. And I found a correlation where when storms fell off of a ridge line, literally, like, think of it as an ice skater has her arms out, and then when that column and that storm mesocyclone fell off the ridge, tucked the arms in, actually spun faster. So I found that on a very micro scale level, mountains not only don't prevent tornadoes, they might actually enhance them.
Wow.
After all that plotting, I now pronounce you Dr. Prociv.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Kathryn, tell me this, because I'm curious. You've got your degree is in geography, correct?
Yep.
So talk just a little bit about people that might be interested in going into weather. I guess explaining that a little bit, how your degree was in geography and how a number of schools, their program is in their geology department.
Yes. So if you think about geography and weather, they are an absolute natural merriment of disciplines, because how many times do we talk about weather in relation to the terrain that it's in, whether we're talking it's snowing, on Mount Rainier, but it's raining down in Seattle, elevation differences are what's causing that precipitation difference. So me starting as a geographer and becoming a meteorologist, it gave me this spatial awareness of weather that not many other meteorologists have. I can pick out sizes of storms relative to anything else I want to compare it to rather quickly. I'm also very akin to the impact on population, because in geography, there isn't just physical geography, there is human geography. So I have kind of a huge interest and understanding in the human component of weather, as well as the physical. So I actually think it was great that the meteorology program was in my geography program as I went through school.
Yeah, because Ohio State, it's in the Department of Geography.
Yes.
Their atmospheric science program is in the Department of Geography.
Yeah.
Nebraska too. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Wow. So tell us how you got from there to the Weather Channel.
So this is a funny story, and I think you might know it, Kim, maybe Dina. So I got my master's degree, and I stayed at Virginia Tech to teach. So I was an instructor, and I loved it. I had 100 students, and the university, they knew they could get me for cheap. So they made all the lectures, all the labs. Usually you have a TA teach labs. They're like, oh, Kathryn will do it. So I had 100 students. I taught 4 sections of lab. It was Introduction to Meteorology, and I remember it was in this big tiered auditorium, and I had a student on day 1 dare me to learn everybody's names by Thanksgiving, and because I'm super competitive, I knew everybody. So I loved it. I loved inspiring the students and teaching, but unfortunately, I was living below the poverty line doing that. So I thought, okay, well, you got to go out, you got to get a new job, and I didn't want to live with my parents. So I'm looking around. I'm applying for all kinds of jobs in the DC area. I was teaching at Northern Virginia Community College, writing for Capital Weather Gang. I think I was doing like 10 things at once. And I saw a job posting come across for the Weather Channel for a weather producer. And all they wanted was resume. And that was so easy because I'm going through these 200-step portals that are, making my eyes dry up. I was like, okay, I love weather. I'm a meteorologist. I've been watching the Weather Channel forever. Why not? It literally was like, why not? Send it in. I only had 1 qualification on the whole thing because I'd never even been in a TV studio. Never. I didn't know TrueView Max, which is our mapping system. I knew ArcGIS, which was my GIS mapping system. But I had the 1 bullet point, knows and loves weather. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, send it in, whatever. So I get a call back. It was like 2 months later. I'd even forgotten about it. I get a call back, and the person who interviewed started it with, so your resume is completely different from anyone else we've ever hired. We're going to give you a try.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
But the caveat was they basically, here I am just like sitting pretty where I was at the time. And they're like, can you start in 2 weeks? We'll hire you as freelance. We don't care you have a master's. We're going to hire you $13 an hour. Yes or no? So I basically jumped off a cliff. I told my parents I was leaving in a week, and I fit everything I could in my little SUV, and I drove down, and the first day I saw my apartment was the day I moved in, and the rest is history.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Great.
So how long have you been there?
I have been here now. My 4-year anniversary was in June.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh
My anniversary's in June too.
Aw.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit, Kathryn. So what is your role as a weather producer for these shows? Tell our audience a little bit, I guess, of what that is. What do you do?
All right. So a weather producer, the way I describe it, we wear many, many hats. Okay. So it's everything from, and Dina, she knows it. She does the same thing. We make maps. We're graphics meteorologists. That's number 1. So all the fancy maps you see, even right now, all the awesome 3D stuff we're doing at the Weather Channel, we have a hand in a lot of that. So the maps, the graphics, that's kind of step 1. Step 2, we're storytellers. We have to take those maps made, either the ones that we make or the ones that our graphics Mets make, and we have to put them in an order that tells a story. And, if you think about it, as a weather producer, it is my job to make a sunny day interesting. Mm-hmm. Because, everybody else is talking about the weather out there. And my job is everyone's like, oh, let me see how they're telling the sunny day story. Rather, over a local station or Weather Nation. And because I don't want them they have a remote in their hand. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to click off of my station. So, what can I do to make a story compelling or unique, interesting, maybe personal for people, just to get them to stick around? So, graphics, storytelling. And then as a weather producer, I'm in the studio during a show. I've got the headset on. So I'm communicating with my on-camera meteorologist, sometimes arguing or not.
Shut your faces. I got something to tell you.
Sometimes, voices have to get raised to get things done. We're in TV. You get a lot of voices. You get to yell sometimes. That's where the multitasking comes in, because it is my job to make sure that the right maps are in the right spot. That when the camera is on, everything's got to be right. the on-camera meteorologists, they have to have the best information, the most accurate information, especially in breaking news, during severe weather.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that we're seeing the tornado warnings first. We're hearing the damage reports first. We have to somehow communicate that to our
and make it understandable.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you can't give them a dissertation in their ear. Like, for example, last night I was doing a segment with Mike Bettis, and I'm watching him like a hawk. Because again, it's my job to make sure the graphics are all working correctly. And I saw him punch something wrong in my preview monitor, so it wasn't on the air. I couldn't say in his ear, "Hey, Mike, could you please hit the such and such button so the such
Mm-hmm.
that blah, 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 blah." I knew the button was labeled wipe, so I literally just got in his ear and was like, "Wipe, wipe."
Yeah.
Just one word answers. You're trying to get, and sure enough, you could tell he's like thinking about it, but he knew exactly what I meant. Wiped it. We had no error on the air, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We really all have voices in our head, but my joke is, like, as long as the voices stop when we take the headset off.
It's okay.
So what's exactly? So what, Kathryn? What is it like on a severe, high risk storm day or hurricane kind of day? How does it change then?
It can get pretty intense, but your experience totally depends on who you're working with. So me, and we can get into this when we talk about storm chasing, the crazier things get, or the more agitated people get, the calmer I get. It's just, in storm chasing, if you freak out when you're in a bad situation, like that's how you make bad decisions. That's how you get hurt. So when everybody is losing their damn minds, and as I like to call it, being irrational, I'm the one who's trying to be like, guys, everybody just chill. Like, it's life. In that case, it's life or death. And I'm like, it's not life or death in here. Why are we panicking? There are actually people out there who should be panicking.
She needs to do a better job investing money, playing the market.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, it depends who you're working with. I could have, on-camera meteorologists who are just as chill and calm as me, and that's great. And then for most of the hurricanes 2017, I had Cantori out in the field, and he's the complete opposite. It's like, forget a bathroom break during the show, because every 10 seconds I'm hearing Prociv.
You don't want to hear wipe then either, do you? Wipe, wipe.
I don't want to hear, wipe the.
I meant to turn my mic off. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So things get pretty intense during big weather, but I love it. I love it. Crisis mode is like when I'm at my best. So
yeah, sometimes at that point you get to the point where, like, we're just going to do this, and the way it comes out is the way it comes out.
Well,
it's the best you can do.
I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, we go by a rundown system. Everything's in a rundown. We know exactly what's coming up next. No one knows what happened still, but all of a sudden we look over and the whole rundown was deleted out of the system. We still had an hour and 40 minutes.
There.
Darn
right?
Russians.
Kim knows. So everybody,
Exactly.
it's like running around. They might as well have had lighters, like lighting their hair on fire. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the floor director comes and she runs up to me and she's like, "Kathryn, the whole rundown is gone." And I went, "Yeah."
We don't have paper copies anymore.
And she's like, "What are we going to do about it?" And I was like, "Well, we have 2 minutes left in the commercial break. That's going to hit 0, and we're going to be on the air whether we're ready or not. So we just got to make it work." And we
do it.
And you just got to do it. It's like the Nike logo. Just do it.
Do you ever turn to like Cantori and he's got like 3 minutes left in his weather and you go, "Now you have 28 minutes. Go."
He would be happy.
Yeah, he would.
Stretch. Stretch.
He'd love it.
Yeah, if you tell Cantori stretch, he's like,
"Oh my God, he'll talk forever."
Yeah. It's like, you'll be sorry.
Cantori, the storm's over. Can we just go home now?
Right. Oh my gosh. So what is your day like? What is your day like? So when you first get into the Weather Channel, what do you do?
So when I first get in, my day starts with a weather briefing. It's either given by our Global Forecast Center people. It's given by Stu Ostro, who's one of our senior meteorologists, or by me. If everybody is out, and this has been happening more often than not, I'm usually the one kicking off with my show team, doing the weather briefing. So that gets everybody on the same page. We know what the top weather stories are. Kind of my favorite thing to do is find cool little stats and cool little nuggets within weather stories. So that's usually what I'm contributing to the team. And then it's time to plan, you know, block by block. We're going to do this weather story here and this weather story here with these tower cams. We go one by one, one by one. And so then after that happens and all the producers leave, I'm kind of in the room. And Weather Underground, kind of the special thing of the show is all the experts we have. So, for example, today I was staying in the Weather Cave, which is our studio for Weather Underground, and I'm trying to figure out, what does Tom Nizzle, our winter weather expert, want to do? What does Dr. Rick Knabb want to do, who's our tropical expert and former director of the NHC? And then they wanted to also do a weather hit together. Oh. So I'm having to come up, you know, with ideas and graphics and build the graphics for them separately, but then also they want to do a story together. So I feel like I'm braiding, you know, this like show from scratch. And then we were doing some fancy 3D graphics. So I got to go through rehearsals of that. I'll put it this way. Oh, and I draw the chalkboards too, which is very, very unfortunate because my twin sister Lauren got all of our artistic ability. Like in our mother's womb, she was like, I was the artist.
And you are a scientist.
And I'm the scientist, but I'm drawing chalkboards.
Do you have to bang the erasers together at the end of the cast and get all the?
I do. I have to clean the chalkboard every day. I call it my daily punishment, but I never know what I'm being punished for. I'm just cleaning them because I got to redraw them. So Dr. Rick Knabb, he knows how to punish me. He asked me to draw a perfect circle a couple weeks ago. That took me about 2 weeks. Perfect for a type A person like me. I've drawn a Tesla, a multi-story home, which I'll never let Bettis live down for making me do that.
Oh my God.
Perfect circle.
Wow.
No,
I would just take one and
Can't you get a string?
Trace it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about ordering a pizza. And then have a reward at the end.
Kathryn, is that a guitar behind you?
Yeah.
What do you have?
It's actually several guitars that I
really?
have, as well as a cello.
Yeah, we'll bring that up here shortly.
Oh,
I'm gonna ask this. Maybe this might be one of the last questions before we move on, Dr. Prociv. But where do you see the future of weather in media? Where do you see that going?
Just in general, probably.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? And do you see yourself working behind the scenes Weather Channel for the rest of your working years?
I would love that. I will say that I would love that. However, I'm also a realist, and you know, you see where TV is, and you can kind of follow the progression of TV the way that the newspaper went. You know, the last few years we watched the newspaper kind of fade away as digital took over. TV is doing the same thing with cord cutting. You've got Roku, you've got all of these different suppliers. So unfortunately, and being the realist that I am, TV is not going to be around forever. And the Weather Channel also will likely not be around forever.
What?
It's a TV platform. Now you take it to social media, you take it to Twitter, you take it to YouTube, then that I think is where the future of any kind of media is really. I mean, how often are you watching something on your phone rather than you are on the TV? You know, it's just happening more and more. So that's kind of the short answer. I see media continuing on mobile devices and social media rather than just TV.
News director in line one.
Yep.
That's how we suckered Kim and Dina into doing this on a bi-weekly basis. All right, well let me ask you this, Dr. Prociv. How can our listeners and viewers follow you on social media?
So I'm very, very active on Twitter. That's where I keep it pretty much all weather all the time.
That's where you're keeping it real.
Yeah, keep it real. So that's my brand there. So at Kathryn Prociv, which Kathryn. And then my last name, which is Ukrainian, and it's I realize it's hard. There's not many Procivs out there. P as in Peter, Rociv. Now, not to be confused with the best mispronunciation of my name I ever got from a telemarketer. A woman asked me, could she please speak to Kathryn Proc the fourth?
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
I was curious if you found the comma. I did compliment her on knowing her Roman numerals.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this. I have heard people mispronounce your name, Prociv and Provis.
Yeah, it's Provic. Yep.
And I'm like, you're like the Brett Favre of the weather world. You spell it one way and it's pronounced another way. But
And I had no idea you were Russian. I'm really sorry. I'd like to apologize for that whole.
You made that comment earlier, and I'm like, we have listeners that download the show in Russia. So sorry. Sorry. All right, well, time for our lightning round. Which for 37 episodes, I've always said this is our speed round of questions for our guest, and it stopped being a speed round a long time ago. So we're gonna keep calling it a lightning round, but instead of referring to quickness and speed, we can say it's like lightning, it's the spectacular lightning round or the brilliant.
There you go.
Lightning round, or it's something like that. We'll use that. But anyway, regardless, it's always our fun round of questions for our guest. Okay. And I understand, as we've already mentioned, Kathryn, you are a fan of music and you play the guitar. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay. So here's our game tonight. I just came up with this today. This is how brilliant this is. We're gonna call this head to head.
Okay.
We're calling it head to head, and we are going to cover Rolling Stone's top 100 greatest guitarists. Oh. And so I'm gonna give you two guitarists, and you have to tell me which one is ranked higher in the Rolling Stone top 100 list. And I'm gonna let our co-host freaks chime in with what they think it might be, and you can listen to them or not listen to them. It's completely up to you.
So we just say higher or lower? Is that all we do?
No, you say the guitarist that you think is the highest of the two.
Can I just say higher or lower?
$1.
When you say define when you say higher though. Does that
higher
mean,
on the list, like meaning better.
Okay, better.
So
okay.
I'm ranked 10th instead of 15th. For example. All right, so
we're making this complex.
I know. It's too hard. Have a drink.
We're drinking, remember?
What was that middle part again?
Kathryn, you ready? Here we go. We're going to get going on this. The first two guitarists, you got to tell me which one is ranked better, Neil Young or Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
You would be correct. Stevie Ray Vaughan is 12th. Neil Young is 17th. So it's close. All right, next one. Stephen Stills or Joe Walsh?
Oh, Walsh.
Stephen Stills or Joe Walsh?
I'm going to guess Joe Walsh.
You would be incorrect. Stephen Stills.
No.
Stephen Stills is 47. Joe Walsh is 54.
Too many voices in your head on that one.
All right, next one. John Lennon or Slash?
Slash.
Tim Slash is more like
our era.
Yeah.
Lennon wasn't known for his guitar that much.
I didn't know he really played that much.
You may say he's a dreamer, though.
I'm gonna go Slash just because he's.
Me too.
He's known as a guitarist.
All right, Kathryn.
I'm going with Lennon.
Oh.
You would be correct.
Wait. A Russian going with Lennon.
John Lennon was 55. Slash was 65.
Oh, that.
Okay.
All right, next one. We have Lindsey Buckingham or Paul Simon.
Oh, I love both of them.
Who's the first one?
Lindsey Buckingham.
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Simon.
Lindsey Buckingham.
I'm going to go with Buckingham because I'm a huge Fleetwood fan.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you would be wrong.
Simon.
It is Paul Simon. We're scraping the bottom of the top 100 barrel here. Paul Simon was 93. Lindsey Buckingham was 100. All right, next one. We have Joe Perry or Buddy Holly. Joe Perry or Buddy Holly?
I would say Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly.
And this one's close. This is a close one.
Yeah, but I'm going with Buddy. I'm going with Buddy.
Buddy Holly, and you would be correct. It is Buddy Holly.
I got
80.
one.
Buddy Holly's 80, Joe Perry 84. So that was a close one. Next one is The Edge or Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia.
That's who I'm picking.
Wow, that was a quick wrong answer.
Oh, sorry, Kathryn.
Or the Edge? You too, the Edge? Are you kidding me? The Edge is 38. Jerry Garcia is 46.
Oh, so they're not that far away.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost 10. 8 by my math. All right, here we go. We're moving up the list here a little bit on this one. Chuck Berry or Eddie Van Halen, and this is very tight. They're one apart. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh.
Chuck Berry or Eddie Van
fair.
Halen.
Gotta be
Van
Eddie
Halen.
Van
Chuck
Halen.
Berry.
Eddie.
Halen. Yep.
Van Halen.
She's going with Eddie Van Halen, and Eddie Van Halen was 8th. Chuck Berry was 7th. You would be incorrect.
Oh.
Wow.
Chuck
I
Berry
remember
was
being
7th.
pissed about that.
Very sad.
All right, here we go. Now, we got 3 more, but this is, I'm going to save the big one for the end. Okay.
Wait. Was this like 100 old people surveyed, or what was this? Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, who
don't
decided this? That's
Yeah.
what I
Stone.
want.
It's whatever. The writers. Here we go. We're going to do 2 more, and then we'll finish with the highlight. All right. George Harrison or Les Paul?
Oh.
Who's ranked higher?
Ooh, a Les Paul is the type of guitar I'll get the day I become a millionaire. So I'm going to go with Les Paul.
Incorrect. George Harrison is 11th. Les Paul is 18th.
I'm still getting a Les Paul.
George Harrison, man, the guitar that gently weeps. You kidding?
I know, but I
Okay.
love that song on guitar too. It's great.
All right, now this one I picked purposefully. Carlos Santana or James Hetfield?
I'm going with Santana because her
Yeah.
limit should be the guitarist.
Yes.
Metallica.
Santana, I do too.
All right, you'd be correct. Carlos Santana, 20th. James was 87th
Okay.
on the list. So here's the final. This is number 1 and number 2. So you just got to tell me who's number 1. Is it Eric Clapton or Jimi Hendrix? Who's number 1
Jimi
and
Hendrix.
who's number 2?
Hendrix.
Oh, I wanted to be
Hendrix.
Clapton.
Hendrix.
Yeah, let's go with Hendrix. I'm trusting Kim on this
Jimi
one.
Hendrix, and you're finishing on a high note. That is
Yay!
correct. Jimi Hendrix
Ding.
and Eric Clapton, number 2. Congratulations.
Good job.
Yeah.
Both
All right,
incredible.
way to go, Kathryn. Well done.
So your voice.
Lost track of how
He's been
many.
drinking for a while.
I have. Well, thanks, Kathryn, for playing. You did a good job. Hey, I want everybody to know, if you live anywhere in the Midwest or in the Plains, you've got to make your way to Indianapolis on November 18th for the 7th annual Indiana Storm Chasers Convention. Spend a great day with fellow storm chasers, spotters, meteorologists, and weather fans, listening to speakers cover topics. These are some of the topics they've got: storm forecasting, fall tornado outbreaks, and new tools for storm spotters. Those are just a handful of them. They only have 55 seats that remain available. And get this, only Stormfront Freaks podcast listeners have an opportunity to register beginning today as we record. So what's the date today? October 19th?
19th.
So beginning today through November 4th, if the seats last that long, if you're a listener, you can actually register and get the early bird rate of only $20 to register for the convention. So if you want to do that, you got to go to IND for Indiana, INDchasercon.com/freaks. You got to add the /freaks there, and you can get the special $20 registration for the event as long as those 55 seats remain. You can also follow them and learn more on Twitter at INChaserCon. My question is, what else are you going to do on a cold Saturday in November? So go ahead.
Right.
Why don't you join us and register fast at INDchasercon.com/freaks.
I thought for sure you said there were 56 seats, and then you went to 55. So they're like signing up
I did.
right away.
I'm watching
Just
my
right
phone.
now
as
they're
we
going.
go. They're happening as we speak. But really, get off your butt and join us, because it's going to be a good time, and save the money while you're doing it. All right, we're going to take a short break. Our podcast listeners get to hear the latest edition of the Titans U Minute with Chris Sanner. So stay right here. We'll be back with Kathryn and the co-host to discuss the future of amateur radio for storm spotting, and we might actually hear a little bit of Kathryn playing her guitar as well.
Yes.
All right.
That's a tease.
All right.
Well, you know what song you're going to have to play, right?
Is Kim, did you
All right, 5-minute break.
I know exactly what song I'm playing for Kim.
You better, girl.
All right, so let's do this. Go grab your guitar, Kathryn, because I'm gonna have you do a couple things here on our break. Oh, you got it right there. So here's what I want you to do, and you can play your guitar while you do this.
Okay.
But give us a little plug. Just say, hey, this is Kathryn Prociv of the Weather Channel's Weather Underground. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. And if you want to sing it while you're playing a tune, you're more than welcome.
Oh.
In G minor.
G minor. This would be your G flat. That's your G flat. Can you hear it okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let me think here, because I do kind of want to sing it. That's a good idea.
Dude, sing it. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's going to be, so my twin sister, where she got all the artistic ability, she also got the singing talent. I play guitar better, though.
Identical?
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. What is it about? I don't know. We get all kinds of identical on this show. Twins.
That's actually pretty
Dean's
awesome.
got them.
I got
I've
them.
got
Jen
twins.
had them. Yep. Kim's got them. Jeez.
That's
I have
awesome.
twin brother-in-laws that are identical.
I know some twins.
Yeah, I
All
got
right, let's
four.
be
That's a
quiet.
different show.
Let's be quiet. Kathryn, go ahead. Let roll with your plug. We'll take it.
All right. So this is Kathryn Prociv from the Weather Channel. I'm a weather producer there. And you're listening to Stormfront Freaks. Boom. Did I get it all?
Okay. I'm going to have you do it again, but say Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Podcast. Okay. Ready?
You're so picky.
I'm gonna count
Okay.
myself
Yeah,
in.
I know, but we got time. We got 5 minutes.
We got plenty of time. All right, ready? This is Kathryn Prociv. I'm a weather producer. Did this hit? Did my bracelet hit?
Yeah, it hit. Try it again.
Over. Take 3. This is why I'm not on the air, by the way.
You're a hit.
All right. This is Kathryn Prociv. I'm a weather producer for the Weather Channel, and you're watching the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Okay, good.
You know what he's going to
You know,
say.
it's like
I do too.
Hey, Manning, have you seen that commercial where he's with who's the country singer he's with? He's like,
Oh,
Brad Paisley.
yeah. He's like, good, almost. We're almost.
almost.
Okay.
Brad Paisley.
2 minutes.
All right. Instead of watching Stormfront Freaks podcast, you're listening to Stormfront Freaks podcast.
All right, you all are going to hear this song in your sleep tonight.
I love it. I know it's a good
Okay.
song.
All right. Hello. This is Kathryn Prociv. I'm a weather producer for the Weather Channel. And you're listening to Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Yay!
Oh, we'll take
That one's good.
That's good.
The only one who's ever done it with music and
I
live
am,
music.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that was
That
awesome.
was great.
Attitude.
Thanks, Kathryn.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, Dan reminds us it's Brad Paisley on the commercial.
Brad Paisley, that's
yeah,
what it was.
yeah.
Yeah, almost.
I was saying
It's
that.
really good, but almost.
We got 1 minute. 1
Yeah,
minute.
almost. Okay. All right. So here's what I'll do. So when we come back, I'll introduce the big thing I want to talk about is, you know, we haven't really gotten into that much, amateur radio and ham radio. And since Kathryn has her license as well, I just thought, let's talk about it now. So I'll introduce a couple things, talk about that. Obviously, that's an industry that's getting old more than it's getting young. And so, and a lot of it's, you know, is the technology
30
getting
seconds.
old too, all that kind of stuff. So we can talk about what it takes to get a license. We can talk about, is that really the future? Are there other things that are the future? I sent you guys some articles you could look at. I don't know if you did or not. Probably not, but
I did.
You sent articles?
I read them.
yeah, exactly.
10 seconds.
Okay, so I'll shut up.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back. We've got, listen to this, we've got over 700,000 amateur radio operators in the United States, according to the American Radio Relay League,
Nice.
And they're
which
mad.
is the ARRL. which by the way, that's the most in history. But the challenge is most belong to the AARP with an average age climbing into the 60s.
Hey now.
I thought you might like that, but the average age is climbing into the 60s. So the question is, because the ease nowadays of being able to, you have to be licensed to use amateur radio, and obviously in the past that's been a huge way to communicate with the National Weather Service during storms, for our spotters to be able to communicate to the National Weather Service. The challenge is with cell phones, smartphones, and technology in those areas getting better, and with the difficulty of having to get a license in order to use be ham radio operator, amateur radio operator is difficult. The challenge is obviously it's not attracting younger people into that industry, and more National Weather Service offices are having difficulty staffing, even if they have one, are having difficulty staffing their ham radio or amateur radio stations from volunteers on a regular basis during storms. So one of the reasons we wanted to talk a little bit about this tonight, we have two licensed amateur radio operators tonight on the show. And obviously one is Kathryn, which is why I wanted to bring it up tonight. The other one is MJ, who's part of the Spotter Network in Minnesota. But do this first. If either one of you can chime in and both of you can chime in, just talk first about getting because you have to get licensed to do this. You have to take a test.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to operate that. So explain to our listeners that some are not, because I'll be honest with you, I am currently not. That's one of my goals for 2018 is I'm actually going to get my license.
Nice.
But I'm not getting younger either. Okay. Explain the process of getting a license.
All right. So MJ, I'm guessing our experiences were different. I got mine through school. So if I'll let you go first, actually. I've done a lot of the talking already.
Yeah, well, no, you can chime in too, but yeah, I did mine through I took some classes, right, from a ham radio club in our area, and went through that process, took some classes, studied the materials, and then took a test, and was lucky enough to pass it, and got my technician. I'm just a technician license, but so that's the process that I went, and that's the process that a lot of people take. You'll find clubs in various areas that'll offer, test exam classes, exam prep classes, and you can take those. And they usually, they meet different amounts of time. I think ours was 4 or 5 meetings, 4 or 5 nights, and then we studied the manual and the handbook and things like that, and then took the exam. And go ahead, Kathryn, how yours was different.
So similar in the 4 or 5 classes, and you get a book from the Radio League that you have to study. Mine was offered. So I am very lucky to have one of the most amazing mentors on the planet. I'll just say it. It's a strong statement, but it's true. His name is Dave Carroll, and he was my meteorology professor at Virginia Tech. He's the one who taught me how to storm chase and who now I co-lead with the students every spring. It's an honor to lead alongside my mentor storm chasing. He had his license. And so he said, I'm in grad school at the time. He goes, I think I'm going to set up a ham radio class for students who want to get their license, because it is very, very important still. Even though it's archaic and it's an aging technology, we use it storm chasing. I'll explain why in a minute. And also storm spotting. So while I'm going through grad school and all that comes with that, I was doing this other class once a week for a couple months, trying to get my license at the same time. But it was great. I was right there along my peers and my colleagues. And that, if you want to talk about a way to get young people involved, do it in school, do it through, if it's a meteorology program, make it, a type of, responsibility for students, make it extra credit or field credit. I don't know. That's how you get young people to do it. There are about 15 of us in the class. We went through it together, we studied together, and then they set up the exam on the same day for all of us. And it was on campus. Again, you got to make it easy, especially for young people, you got to make it easy. And I told Phil a little bit about this already. The day that I got licensed, I will always remember.
Yeah, this is cool.
Because it was April 27th, 2011.
Oh, gosh.
Day of the super outbreak. And so you can imagine focus was very poor. And we're all in this room. And I remember we actually, long before I even knew I'd work for the Weather Channel, but we had the Weather Channel on the TV out in the big student center. So we took the test, and then we ran back out. We were watching. I remember Jeff Morrow was standing in Birmingham, and we know what was going on behind him. And then we passed, thankfully, and technician is class 1. And if you pass right away, you can take another exam for free just to see if you get general, which is number 2 class. And I remember being like, I don't want to, because I just wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to take the second test. I'm happy with the technicians. Now type A, Kathryn. Obviously. Like,
oh, God, did you do it?
Test. Yes, I did.
Of course she did.
Of course she did.
Wait, Dr. General Prociv? Is that
Dr. General Prociv. So, yeah, I took that, and the whole time was like record time. They said they'd never seen anyone take a test so fast. And I said, well, I've got tornadoes to watch. I didn't pass. I didn't pass the second test, full disclosure. That one requires even more studying. They just
it does.
You just do it. So past that, so keep in mind I'm in Southwest Virginia, so all that's happening in the Southeast. I get home, and this is, April in the mountains of Blacksburg. It's usually still like snowing on and off that time. And I'm walking my dog, and I'm like, it feels like a high risk day out in the Great Plains right now. And I'm at 2,200 feet in the mountains of Virginia. And as I told Phil, sure enough, those supercells, they did not care it was night. They did not care that they hit the mountains. Again, many of those became case studies in my master's degree. And 6 hours after I got licensed, I was able to use my radio.
Nice.
That night, get the word out about the tornadoes that were going on in Virginia. So I'm so glad that I got it. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think the way you did that, and I think the way they do that with incorporated into the classroom is a great idea.
So MJ, you tell me this: is your network that you guys are on in Minnesota, is that closed? Is that a closed network, or do you allow anybody that's got a license to jump on if they're spotting storms and be a part of that?
It's the people that join are generally part of the group. We'd allow anybody else to come. There's not that many people around, so we don't very often. Occasionally, we'll have somebody else jump in, and they're welcome to do so. We do like to get the Twin Cities National Weather Service office likes to have people who have, received the spotter training and have a spotter number and things like that. But they don't require it, so anybody can join. We just don't have that happen very often.
So that's the challenge. And Kathryn, I know you've done a lot of storm chasing as well, but the challenge also that would deter people from maybe wanting to get their license and get involved in amateur radio is, especially if you're chasing, there are a lot of networks that kind of turn their nose up on getting anybody else in on their network. Like, hey, what are you doing on our channel?
Yeah.
Get off. So how often have you seen that?
So I will tell you that, while you would think this whole, inclusiveness would be bad, it does have its pluses, because ham radio, everyone is licensed. Everyone has a high respect for being able to use those frequencies, and it is regulated by the FCC. So, for example, you are not allowed to use bad language over the ham radio. You have to be nothing but polite. There are rules. You have to say your calls, every couple of minutes. And what that does, and having been storm chasing for many years, I've done the CB. Now the CB radios, that's what truck drivers have. Anyone, your mom, your dad, your kid can get on a CB radio.
We're bringing moms into it again, huh?
And that's fine. My Italian mother, who's feisty, she's not watching tonight because Scandal was more important. Scandal. So I was like, you do you, Mom. But it's and truck drivers, they can just be downright, let's just say
they're nasty.
So can Phil.
Yeah. That's right.
Not all of them. I've spoken to some very, very nice truck drivers out there, but having your ham filters all of that out. I've never spoken to anyone who was impolite or inappropriate over the ham, because you can't. You'll get kicked out.
Right. No, I agree. You're absolutely right. And when I talk about allowing others in, they have to be licensed hams to be on.
Sure. Right.
It's just occasionally we get somebody else who's, out and seeing something that'll kind of, do a report in. I will say that Metro Skywarn, which is the big organization in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area, they are a very closed network, and they will only allow people who've actually gone through their own Metro Skywarn training program participate. So,
how much are these radios? Are they very expensive?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Well, this is my issue, right? Is that this is one of the other challenges to that industry is you can jump on Amazon now and buy a radio, amateur radio, for like $25, $20.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little 2-meter handheld.
Yeah, and it's like a good old walkie-talkie, and I think that's the other challenge is too many people have access to that and will use it without a license.
Yes, and those people right away.
oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, when you're driving out there, my call sign is KK4BWP. It's assigned to you. You can get a vanity call sign if you want, but it works for me. So you have to say it every several minutes. You have to introduce yourself, and then say MJ and I are finished speaking. A lot of times I'll say this is KK4BWP, Kathryn clear. And that means done. So there's certain language you can pick them out right away. You're like, you're not supposed to be on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because how big are these units? Like, I remember growing up, my grandfather had a whole radio system down in his basement. It covered the entire wall. He had the ham radio, the microphone, and it seems like, and then you see in the movies where it's like kind of like a box.
With a 30-foot like antenna. So are you like with a walkie-talkie and a 30-foot antenna dragging behind you, or what are we talking here?
So it varies. You've got, and I bet you MJ is going to get his radio because I saw him say, "I'll be right back."
Or it's a bathroom break.
It probably is. Yeah.
He's over 50.
He is. AARP.
To answer your question, it depends how hardcore you are. I have a handheld, and that's it.
Okay.
People actually build, a room full. It's like a command center. And of course, the more equipment you have, the farther the frequencies you can go. A lot of hams, it's a hobby, so they'll try and ping people over in Asia or over in Australia. I'm just trying most of the time to communicate between bands or communicate within a county boundary for severe weather, and that's about it. But the best thing about it, I know we call it archaic, I know we call it old, but hams will work when cell phone towers go down.
It works all the time.
Hey, you know who likes hams? Dogs behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do.
Guys love
Back
those.
there.
My nickname, because I got my license in Virginia, I'm a Virginia ham. So
That's right. There you go. Ba-dum.
That's a good one.
No, I ran out quick for our viewers to say this is the handheld that I use when I'm spotting mobile. It's my mobile handheld, and it works very, very well, and it's not real expensive. And then I have I actually have a mobile unit for my home unit, so that they're very small. Yeah.
Do people still have those big ones then, just when they want to
Yeah,
communicate?
some do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you,
As we would say, the old timers.
Yeah, my grandpa had one. No, the ones that covered the whole wall, I'm saying.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll tell you, and I know why this conversation came up, and Phil, you might be bringing this up, but with Hurricane Maria that slammed St. Croix, St. John, Puerto Rico, who, still huge percentage, most of those islands are without power. The ham radio operators are almost the unsung heroes right now because there's no power, there's no cell phone coverage, and it's the hams that have been able, to get SOS messages out, get "I'm safe" or "I love you" messages out to families from Puerto Rico.
And I'm right. Puerto Rico and also the earthquake in Mexico City.
Yes.
Ham radio amateur radio played a big part of that.
I heard 9/11 as well.
Even in Houston, did you guys hear about in Houston? What's the Cajun?
Cajun Navy.
Cajun Navy. Yeah, the Cajun Navy was a lot of them were being sent out through amateur radio where they were finding out where people needed to be saved and brought in.
Right.
A lot of that was through amateur radio. So this, to me, personally, amateur radio, I think, it still needs to be a huge, huge part of our storm and disaster
emergency response. Yeah.
Exactly. But again, I think the issue is we need to do a better job of attracting younger people, because what's happening now, here's the other part, is I was talking about smartphones, the Zello app, which is like a radio app that you can get on your smartphone that now is being used quite a bit. There were 6 million new users in 1 week during Hurricane Irma. 6 million new users in 1 week. And what they were using that app for, very similar to amateur radio, was being able to communicate what's going on, where am I at, where I'm trying to go, I'm trying to get out of here, what do you need, where's the storm right now, trying to communicate a lot of that over the smartphone, which is kind of a replacement of amateur radio, but you don't need a license to use Zello.
You don't know.
And at the Indiana ChaserCon, by the way, there's actually one of the friends of our show, Jay Farlow, is actually doing a presentation talking a little bit about that, because he's a big amateur radio user as well. But there's better cell coverage than we've ever had before, is helping with that. There's the Spotter Network app and website. We talked a little bit to Rick Smith about that last week from the National Weather Service, that's a much newer way for spotters to communicate to the National Weather Service, what they're seeing, what's going on. Obviously, social media is huge. Those are all new ways that were never there 10 years ago.
Yep.
That I think is going to threaten amateur radio.
And I think they're good. They're good, and they get more information. And I think the National Weather Service takes in all of that information. The one thing about the amateur radio and the networks and the spotter networks that we do with those is when you're in a small area, right, and you're trying to coordinate people being in different locations to watch a storm, I think the radio is still a lot easier way to pay attention, right? While you're driving, you're stopping on the side of the road, you're doing things like that. And you don't worry about coverage. You don't have, when we're out in the rural areas and some of those places, yes, cell phone coverage is better than it's ever been. But data is still spotty sometimes. And we don't worry about it because we know we can communicate regardless of the conditions, regardless of anything else. So I think there's still a place for it for that reason, if nothing else.
And to me, and I don't know, I don't want this to come off as sounding snobby, but it might a little bit. But what you hear from a ham, you can trust, because we're just trained to be accurate, have respect for others, have respect for our surroundings. Most hams are huge weather nerds or meteorologists, so I will trust the word of a ham before I trust the word of someone else, for example.
So you guys, you said, Kathryn, you got your license in school. So say like me or somebody else wants to do that, how would you even start?
Good question.
Find an amateur radio club in your area. There certainly is one somewhere. So that'd be, do a search, for your area. Yep, just Google it, find an amateur radio club, and contact them. They'll know exactly where to send you and exactly what to do.
They probably, how long does it take? You said you went to a couple classes and then studied and.
Yep. Kathryn was probably on the fast track. It probably took me a month and a half.
Oh, that's nothing though.
No.
And do you have to recertify or anything?
Every 10 years, is it? You just have to re-up your license now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's great. You can choose to learn Morse code if you want. It's to me, I love that kind of stuff, kind of this, whether it's old technology or archaic language, you never know when that's going to come back. When everything
it's in the movies. When we get invaded by aliens, it's the ham radio operators that send the signals across the world.
Right.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what, our listeners and viewers, hey, let us know what you guys think on this subject. You can always email us at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com, or you can find us on Twitter or Facebook and tag us your thoughts so we can share it on our next show. So we're going to take our final break. The rest of you can refill your drinks. When we come back, it's time for some cool WX resources you'll love, and we'll have plenty of Darwin Award nominees in our weather pool. And those of you watching us on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, thanks for tuning in. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m., and don't miss our new show coming up on November 2nd with meteorologists in charge at the National Weather Service in Louisville and former hurricane hunter John Gordon will be with us. You can catch our full edited podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or stormfrontfreaks.com the Sunday following our recording. We'll see you guys next week. All right, break.
All right.
Okay.
Break.
Way to go,
guys.
Catherine.
Nice job.
that was good.
Katherine.
Good job.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm going to have to
Absolutely, that
go
was
here,
cool.
and I'm going to have to shut down here in a couple minutes.
Bladder
Okay.
control.
I'm so
bladder
sorry,
control.
but I have to help my son with a project, and
Okay.
he's, desperate for help. So I'm
Well,
going to have
take
to.
care of him, Mommy.
When he
All
asks
right.
for help, you got to do it.
Oh, you guys, I'm
Is it
sorry.
weather?
Fine.
Is it weather related?
No, of course it's not weather related. If it
yeah.
was, it's probably, I'd wait till the morning to do it.
Yeah.
All
Good.
right,
All right.
sorry,
Take
guys.
care of him, Mommy. You're
Okay.
awesome. You're an awesome
Okay.
mom.
Oh, thanks,
Thanks,
guys. Bye,
Cam.
See ya.
Katherine. You play
All
that.
right.
Still play. Please play it for them anyway.
I will. You know what? Well, when I see you and we have our drink, I'll play for you.
I love that.
Awesome.
All right. Okay.
All right,
Bye,
you can wa-
guys.
You can watch
Bye.
it on the video. We'll have her do it now.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
All right, so all right, Catherine. Then you got to play it. Pressure's on. You got to pull that guitar out.
Oh, I will. I'll play her favorite Metallica song.
Do it. We're ready.
Enter
Oh,
sound.
right now. Oh, you ready right now?
We're
In
ready
the-
right now. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Will she be able to
It's-
see the stuff in
Yeah, because it's saved on YouTube, so she'll be able to watch it.
Is it
All right.
Enter Sandman? Is that what it is?
You can do a special request if you want. Special request, Kim Cunningham.
You know what, Maze? I will play that for you first. How about that? And then
Okay.
I'll play Kim's song.
I'm
We'll
gonna
just play
mute
snippets.
myself.
We're not going to play like the long songs.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Two. So there's your end.
Nice.
Nice.
That's how you Dina
Woo!
doing
Love that song.
the head banging. And so now this is for Kim to watch for later. Her favorite song is Fade to Black by Metallica, from one of their older albums. So I'll just play the beginning for her and you guys as well. All right, so here we go. All right, I got to make sure I play it right. That's what I will play.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Kat.
That is
Nice.
great.
Oh, man.
That's
If I
a
had-
first.
If I had a lighter, I would light
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that.
No, normally we have to suffer through Brady on his recorder. So this is definitely an upgrade, Catherine. Thank you.
Tell me you all have seen the YouTube 20th Century Flute when you're talking about the recorder.
Oh.
Oh, as soon
What
as
is this? We're looking up 20th century flute.
20th Century Flute, someone tries to play, the 20th Century intro when you're watching a movie,
Oh yeah.
the drums. So someone tries to play that poorly on a recorder. It is the funniest thing you'll ever hear.
Okay.
Sounds like Brady.
Does he have a cat with him?
Brady's always trying to play Lord of the Rings or Hobbit or something.
Okay.
Our YouTube viewers were loving it. Just letting you know.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
Way to go, Catherine.
Wow. Okay.
So, Catherine, are you sticking around for our Weather Fools and WX resources, or what's the
why
plan?
not?
All right,
Why not?
what the hell? Let's do it.
I remember Dina being really good at Weather Fools.
I got another good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I make fun of people too. I mean,
Well, that's
Hey.
the point. That's partly the point
Yeah.
of Weather Fools, just calling
No.
people
Do it.
out. What the hell?
Dina
Let's call
making
them
fun
out.
of people? What is
Yeah,
that?
really, exactly.
I don't think I have one though. For,
Weather Fool, or do you have a weather resource, which
I
could
have-
be an
I have-
app or a website or something cool like that?
I've got that.
Equipment. Hey,
Awesome.
it could be a radio. Like what's the
Oh, yeah.
what's the amateur? What's the radio you like to use?
That's
that would
true.
be a good WX resource as well.
You know, I don't even like. I have a very like easy, cheap one from Radio Shack, so I don't even know the best radio. MJ's probably you probably know. What's your radio?
I'm a Yesu fan. That's
MJ. Did you give me your call sign?
KD0 TCR.
KD0 TCR.
Yep.
Love it.
All right, so let's do this. I still had Brady for Weather Fools. So MJ, do you want to do Weather Fools?
Not really, but okay.
Dina, do you want to? Okay, let's
Dina will do
MJ.
it. How about Dina do
okay.
it? Let Dina do it.
All right, Dina, you're doing Weather Fools. You're leading that.
All right.
So we'll start with our WX Resources and Maz.
Who's got them, by the way?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
Who was the second one? Phil? Okay.
I can do it.
Phil, Dina,
And Kathryn.
Catherine's got one?
All right.
Okay.
Who's got the Weather Fools?
MJ, do you want to do your radio?
I can do it if that's what you want me to do. Yeah, that's
do it.
fine.
Yeah,
Let's
do
do
your
it.
radio as your
Do
weather
it.
resource.
We'll do it.
I think that's good. We get plenty of websites. Let's do
Yep.
other stuff. So I think that would be
So
good.
Catherine, Dina, and Phil, yes?
And who's
And
who's got
MJ.
Weather Fools?
And MJ, man.
MJ's got it. Yes.
Yeah. So you have
For
four
resource.
Resource.
Right.
WX
Weather
Resource.
Fools. I have a Weather Fool.
Okay. Who else? Just me and you?
Looks
Okay.
like.
Make it easy.
And then we'll go to MJ. Do you have any listener questions? I don't know if you do. Do you have
I do have 2 listener comments.
anything from our YouTubers tonight?
They're always have
Sure.
interesting things.
If there's
but-
something, let us know.
Yeah, I will.
And then I'll close it out. Hey, Kathryn, do you want to? Is your weather resource something you want to screen share,
Yes.
or you just want to talk about it?
Screen sharing would be awesome because it's a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing resource.
Okay.
Ah.
So do you know how to screen share on Google Hangouts?
It's off to the side, right over here.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
it's
the
on the
second
left.
one
green
It's
from the
button.
the
top.
green.
Okay.
It's the green image.
Okay, I see. And then I would choose probably the tab, right, that I want.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to practice?
And don't forget to stop sharing at the bottom when you're done.
Okay, so can you see this?
What?
Not
See
yet.
you.
Yeah, your face turned blue. What happened?
All right.
So hit the green button first, and then you want it, that pulls up another window,
Yep.
and then you have to choose probably your entire screen is what I usually do.
Share.
Yeah, there it goes.
There you go.
Now,
Cool, yeah.
now go to your tab.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
That one's good.
Oh, you know what? I think we did that. Is that the one that shows
Yeah,
the
but
current?
she did it. She did it. So
Well, she did it,
It's
but
so
someone
cool.
else just did it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, a few weeks back.
do you have anything with the ham radio? I would be interested.
I did one with kind of like that, but that wasn't exactly it.
Let's
Well, I remember Kathryn did that when she was the guest co-host
Yeah.
on our show.
Right, and then
But
I did
someone
one that
else
was slightly
pulled it up.
different than that, and I think you told me that she did it
Oh
before.
yeah,
Will you
'cause-
do that
'cause
one,
It was
Kathryn?
it was the gal from Germany
Yes.
that
Whoa.
recommended that page.
Yeah, it'll do that when you go to. But I'm just curious at the whole
Just
ham
pick a
radio
different
thing.
tab.
Now you got me all interested.
So what I might do then, so this would be the hand, if you can
There
see
you
my,
go.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
the ARP.
No, ARRL.
Bill, have you finished that cooler?
I'm on the
Beers
last
left?
one. So this is my third one. I'm
Is it?
finishing my last.
I like
better
the drunk,
hurry.
Bill.
actually, as you even on the top, look at this ham radio and the news, Puerto Rico and the
Yep.
recovery.
Nice.
So
Yeah, do that.
That's a good one.
That'll
Okay.
work.
That's a good
How do
one. MJ's radio will be a good one. Yeah, that'll be good.
So
Love
which
it.
one are we doing first? Weather resource or weather fools?
Weather resource.
Okay.
So Dina, here's the deal. So when remember it's episode 38 show notes. So when Maz is done, he'll throw it over, Dina, to you. Kind of introduce it a little bit. Just remember to explain what Weather Fools is, right? We're kind of picking people that are doing silly things in weather or weather related stuff. and then you and I, whoever you want to pick to go first, and then
Okay.
just remind people at the end, they can find the links or the resources if you go to stormfrontfreaks.com and then look at our episode 38 show notes.
Okay. All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'll take
I'm
it.
not
and
that
throw it over to MJ. All right. Well, let's get going. We'll throw it to Maz.
All right, ready, set?
Ready, set.
All right. Here we go in 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. Hey, time now for weather resources. We always have the coolest new spots, old spots, places that you're just going to find some of the most awesome weather related, and this time ham related stuff as well. With that, let's go to Dr. General.
Dr. General Prociv. All right. It has a nice ring to it. Can I be Dr. K?
Dr.
Yeah.
Little
Yes.
Dr.
K. Little K.
I am only 5 feet tall, so my nickname is 5 Feet of Fury. So, okay, so let me do the screen share here. Make sure, because we're talking about the amateur radio and ham, I decided to choose the homepage for the American Radio, basically Amateur Radio League, where you would go to either, and Dina, this answers your question, you could search on here, a club if you'd want to join, or just where you might be able to take a class, or even just to order the book if you want to study by yourself. And then as all of us were looking at this webpage together in the break, we noticed, right here at the top, ham radio in the news, Puerto Rico and the Caribbean recovery. And then I think this is interesting, donate to Ham Aid. So as you can see,
Is that a concert, Ham Aid?
Ham Aid, it actually sounds like a topping for ham.
Lemonade with ham.
Yeah. But look at this, Dina, again, for you, new to amateur radio, what is it? Get your license.
Perfect.
Yep, join or renew. So for those of you who are genuinely interested, this is a really, really great place to start. You can read articles here, know where to get your license. So I would highly, highly recommend going here if you think you'd like to be a ham. Oh, look at this over on the right-hand side. So even some radio information if you want to buy.
What's that website?
So this is www.arrl.org. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
And there's a school club there too, it looks like.
Yeah. So schools can join. Like I said, I really think the way that I did it through school, that is probably the best way to get younger generations involved.
Very much. That was very cool.
What's beyond general, by the way?
Oh, I don't even remember because I took the general test. And while you guys are going to look with me, so the 3 classes of ham radio. Yep. So
you think and type. That's so cool.
Advanced.
My what?
She's in TV. You got to do multiple things at once.
I'm like,
so,
man.
Yeah, here we go. So Group D, amateur radio licensing, ham radio licenses. This is what I want. FCC, technician, general, amateur extra.
Amateur extra, that's it.
Amateur extra.
Amateur extra.
Yeah, so if people really want to be extra.
And you're competitive.
And I'm very competitive. So
I'm not an overachiever. I'm going to stick with the technician.
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Extra.
I'm getting.
Yeah, technician will get you really everything you need.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey, that was very good. Thank you for that. Let's go to the other lady. It is the evening, but I'm not going to say it. Dina.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. And mine is you call it cocoross.org.
Oh,
and I like this because it mainly what I use it for is rainfall totals and snowfall totals. I like this mainly. It tells you at the bottom, this CocoRoss it's really a volunteer network of backyard weather observers. So they pretty much report some of this stuff. So say I want to look at, especially during a big storm, a lot of times we're looking at National Weather Service sites to get rainfall totals or snowfall totals, but you can look at some of these places and zoom in and even click on some of these reports and see how much rain they got. And that's when it really matters, because you could see, maybe there's a big snowstorm and you're getting 24 inches of snow, and yet, maybe the National Weather Service site only had 6. So it's one of those things where it's really helpful. There's all kinds of stuff on the side, but like I said, mainly what I do is I look for it for rainfall, snow, but you've got everything. You've got hail. I mean, everything you've got. So try it out. It's a long thing here. www.cocorahs.org.
Man, where was that when we were doing weather?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it because it really gets you the storm reports you're looking for. And for like Katherine and I doing our job, we really need that.
Yeah, we do.
We were like calling like Bob, how much snow did you get? You know?
But it's,
And
yeah,
he was
it's,
drinking.
Coco Ross is the communicative, collaborative rain, hail, and snow network. So that's what you're getting out of it.
That's great. And now you can use your weather station too. You could be a part of it.
I know. I love that weather station. AccuRite, thank you. And I woke up this morning, went to work. It was 39 degrees.
Woo!
Nice.
Wow.
And Atlanta too was like 50 something, and up here where I live, it was 39.
Wow.
It's awesome.
It was awesome.
All right, Maz, you're muted, buddy. You got to unmute
Oh,
yourself.
sorry, wrong button. Okay. I was going to go to Phil, but since he told me off. No, MJ, it's your turn.
All right. Well, just real quick, since we're talking about ham radio, and I showed this radio, those of you who are watching, earlier, this is sort of my go-to handheld radio unit, and I'm a fan of Yaesu. That's many manufacturers. They're just one of them. But this is an FT60 handheld radio, and if you're just starting out, and you want to do storm spotting, or you just want to do a little bit of work with amateur radio, it's a great one to start with. It's a dual band, 2 meters, 70 centimeters, which is your two most common radio bands in terms of traffic and people to talk to and things like that. Or it's 2 meter band is what most of the National Weather Service spotter networks utilize. And you can get it brand new for $150 or less, so it's not too expensive to get into it. And it's powerful enough to do what you need to do when you get started. So
what's the range on that?
It's the Yaesu FT60.
Can I call China?
No, it's not one of those that you're going to do a lot of international work. It's local, but I use it and I get 40 miles out of it easy. Again, it's more of a local thing. And when you get into ham radio, you talk about repeaters and things like that. But it's very capable.
So if you want to go farther, size matters, is what you're saying?
Yeah. It does.
Woo! We've had a few.
Whoa.
No, you need to get many more watts.
So how do you
5
spell,
watts.
by the way, how do you spell that?
You spell Yaesu, Y-A-E-S-U.
There you
Y-E-A-S-U. And the FT60 is the one I use.
Cheaper on Amazon. Okay, so let's go to Phil. You got something for us, don't you?
Yeah, it's funny because you guys have some like really good, important, you can really be better educated from. Here's my WX resource.
Oh, that's so cute.
For those of you that are fans of the movie Twister, we're getting ready for Christmas.
Yes.
You can go to, I just saw this the other day, you can go to joeykindex.com, JOEYKINDEX.com, and one of the things they have for sale is a Dorothy sensor ornament. For $11.99, you can decorate your Yuletide Christmas tree with a beautiful rendition of the round Dorothy tornado sensor with the pop can twirly whatever thing on the top of it. I just thought it was pretty cool when I saw that, and I just thought, well, we got to share that. We're getting close to the holiday season.
Does it work?
Cool.
I'm sure it doesn't, but it looks like it could.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It legitimately looks like it's got all the electronic gizmos on the inside that makes it look legitimate.
Oh, that's neat.
But yeah, so you guys want to get yourself a little pre-holiday gift, very inexpensive. Get yourself a Dorothy sensor ornament for your Christmas tree.
My guess is you're going to have to mail that. You probably can't carry that on a plane, right? That looks pretty scary.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Obviously, they can ship it. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right. So you can check out, what episode are we in, by the way?
38.
38.
Hey, so you can check out all these links and all the information by going to stormfrontfreaks.com in the resources area and look for what episode?
38.
38. Thank you. 38.
Could you imagine if we were a weekly show, we would now be at what? 76?
Times 2.
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a little bit. But we're not. We're by
Drake math.
So 38. All right,
All
Dina.
right. Oh, you
Sorry,
good. Okay.
Matt,
No,
sorry.
you're good, man.
All right. This is the fun part called Weather Fools of our show. And it's the fun part where we get to watch people do stupid stuff that gets caught on camera because, everybody's got a camera on their phone now and they're always videotaping everything. So we're going to put the links on our show notes, but Phil, I know you have one. What do you got?
Well, so I do, and this actually is not. So Weather Fools could cover a couple things. This is not a video of someone doing something stupid. Weather Fools could just be stupid people.
Okay.
Doing stupid things regarded to the weather. So this is a recent article about FEMA. Now, I kind of put FEMA under the bus a few episodes back with their inability to timely pay on some money they owed some cities. Well, this has to do with the Joplin schools, and this is in relation to tornadoes that Joplin had back in 2011, which is when Dr. General got her license.
Yes, it was.
So here's the challenge. So these Joplin schools right now are currently trying to haggle with FEMA over the cost of tornado repairs. And so the weather fool here, honestly, I don't know if it's the Joplin schools or if it's necessarily FEMA. You know, the challenge with the challenge is the school district has 7 appeals disputing more than $70 million of denied costs by FEMA of trying to rebuild their schools. But the challenge becomes, is it FEMA's responsibility? And sometimes the challenge being a government agency is they're slow to react. They're slow to follow up. It's just government. It's slow. And sometimes that can be a pain in the ass. Or is it the school district's responsibility? Because sometimes the issue is, are you submitting the paperwork in a timely manner? FEMA's, a lot of government agencies, they're strict on their deadlines. You got to give me this information by this date. And if you don't, you kind of lost out. Well, that's the responsibilities of the leaders of the school district to make sure they're getting the paperwork completed in time and they're getting everything completed in time. Or they're giving accurate information on the front end, the cost to rebuild to FEMA. And if they're not giving accurate information, and they're not doing the work it takes. So I'll be honest with you. I don't know who the weather fool is in this regards, but the challenge is there's obviously a weather fool here. 2011 was a long time ago, and $70 million is a lot of money for a school district, and they're not getting it. So whether it's FEMA or whether it's the school district at fault, then is the fool. I really don't know. But the frustration of obviously continuing to deal with a government agency.
We just built an elementary school in like 10 months here. It
Wow.
was like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it went up fast.
That never happens.
I know. It's crazy. And they're actually doing all the schools. It's like, what the heck?
Wow.
Somebody passed a levy.
All right. I think I'm the only one left who has a weather fool, and mine does. It does make fun of people a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen. And this, I have an issue with people driving through floods. It's my thing.
Yep.
So this one, I'm not even sure where it is, but it looks like it's another country. So I'm going to make a lot of fun of them just because, But look at this. Now he's trying to, Kenya. So he's trying to get through here.
Oh, my good
Almost
Lord.
Looks like he might get it. And then over a
Oh, little minivan. Not quite.
It's amazing. He goes
It's
over
like a little mini waterfall.
How do you?
They're lucky they ended up right side up.
Yeah.
This is so ridiculous.
They just thought they had more clearance in that little minivan.
Yeah. Well, I just don't
That's the-
understand why
yeah.
people try it to begin with. Now,
Well,
I have
hey,
found another one.
last I heard, Kenya doesn't have the turn around, don't drown saying.
I don't know. I had found another one. I think it was one of the hurricanes that I had pitched for like my job, and I was looking around for it. It was like a semi truck that was going across, and it must have had. You couldn't see it because it was all water, but it must have been on a bridge because it went over and the whole semi truck went underwater. And I'm trying to I couldn't find the link, and I found that one. That was a good one too. And I'm like, it is so preventable.
Yeah.
Hashtag don't do stupid,
Hey, you're going to blow your ham operator license.
Careful.
I didn't do it. I didn't say it, but
That's
it's one of those things like, come on. Why?
Exactly.
It's just frustrating.
All right.
We waste our breath.
Find all these on our Stormfront Freaks website, show episode 38, because this, like mine and stuff, it's a long one. You can't even remember the website. So just check out
The link,
stormfrontfreaks.com, episode 38 in our resources.
Very good. All right. Well, let's jump to MJ, see what we have for listener questions and responses.
Well, we want to say thanks, Don Murray, for giving us a review. He says, just stumbled onto this podcast and am now a fan. Great work.
Great. Thanks,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks,
Thank you, Don. And Rob H. Tweeted for us and says, great show this week, guys and gals. It was truly just good enough. And if you listen to our show, you'll know what that means.
That's all we're striving to do. Yep. That's our hope.
That's
our bar.
Just made it.
That's our bar.
Set it low.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, I think that about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw. Thanks for listening and watching. Please take the time to leave us, of course, a 5-star review on your podcast app. Special thanks, Kathryn, to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. You were outstanding as always.
Awesome.
And our next episode in 2 weeks, recording live on November 2nd, will be with meteorologist.
Wow. How many beers have you had?
Finished the cooler.
He's finished the cooler.
I like Drunk Phil.
You're not the first to say that.
Let's toss it back to Dr. General.
On November 2nd, I got to finish this, guys. Come on. November 2nd, it'll be with meteorologist in charge. See, this is the problem with the National Weather Service. All their titles, you've got warning coordination meteorologist, you've got meteorologist in charge.
Whiny.
You got, my goodness. Anyway, meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service in Louisville, and he's also a former hurricane hunter. It's John Gordon is going to be with us. So I'm sure we'll be talking hurricanes, and it's good because it's good to get some more National Weather Service staff on the show. Be sure to click subscribe on your podcast app to be notified when it's available. Go to stormfrontfreaks.com or our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it live. So I think for MJ, for Maz, for Dina, Kim's already taken off, but Kathryn stuck around. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to make
an amazing Stammstucker.
Anyway, you guys are all awesome. Those of you that stuck around to actually watch this crap and listen, we appreciate it. I'm going to signal the all clear. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
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 Oh my God, that was hard.
Drunk Phil's the best.
That was hard.
Could you imagine him doing shots?
Oh my God, that was hard.
I think that's the show title. I like Drunk Phil.
I like Drunk Phil. That's awesome. I vote for that already.
All right. Alrighty. If you didn't send me, let me write this down because Kathryn, what was your ARRL?
.org. Yeah, I remember.
I gotta write that down. I know, Dina, you sent me yours already.
Yeah.
MJ, what was the name of that radio again?
It's Yaesu, Yaesu, and I'm sure it's yaesu.com.
SU. Should I do that, or should I link Amazon or something?
Yeah, it's the Yaesu FT60. So if you can just find that somewhere, yeah.
Whose cabin is that?
Okay.
It's our lake place, yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
There's a long story, but the dogs playing poker hanging behind me used to hang in my wife's parents, my in-laws' cabin for many, many years, and then it came to our place. So,
Yeah.
Hey, I just got a text from Dan Wallace. He owns the weatherproshop.com.
Yes.
That we talked about. So he's probably watching right now too. He said, "Anyway, thank you for an entertaining show." And then he
we
put,
like Drunk Phil.
and then here's what he put. Well, he put shots in Indy ? Because I'm going to be in Indianapolis, Indiana, Chaser Con.
Get your flu shot there, sure.
Exactly. Anyway,
Take
thanks,
video for us.
Yeah.
All right, Kathryn. Anyway, that was awesome.
Yes, that was great. Thank you.
We had a lot of fun. You know, I'm about ready to actually consider asking you, just because I think you're such a good fit for the show. Because now that you're not doing the damn early morning stuff, I'm borderline actually thinking like, hey, are you ready to commit to coming on the show maybe every other week and being a co-host? Because before your excuse was the early morning crap and the
Yeah, because I'd normally be getting up in 2 hours.
Right. Well, which Dina
knows.
Everybody bitches about that. I gave Cantori a bad time because he complains about he had to meet earlier.
Oh no, I don't want to hear it from him.
And I'm like, hey, Dina fights through it, and he commented that Dina's tougher son of a bitch than he was or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's true. We are.
He looks tough, but he cowers. He goes down.
Yeah, he's not. He's a big softie.
Anyway, you were awesome. Thanks for coming on, Kathryn. You're
I
outstanding.
will consider it. Thank you.
Great job.